Welcome to you at home. Welcome along to Henry and Charlotte. OK, well, let's start off, shall we, with Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. And let's start off with that story in the Express. And really quite clear in the headline, we won't lose our heads. Arteta insists that Gunners are hungrier than ever. What's your take on this, Charlotte? Because he's come out and said this despite the fact they were obviously losing finalists to Manchester City in the Carabao Cup and then got knocked out of the FA Cup by Southampton. So is this a little bit of methinks he doth protest, or is he just trying to kind of send out the right messages?
Yeah, I think he's obviously got to send out the right messages, hasn't he? It's a little pun there on the back page because, as you can see, one of the many interesting drills they were doing this morning in open training was they were holding the ball, 4 of them, between their heads. And I'm sure we'll get onto what they were doing with the pens in a minute. But Arteta is certainly looking out of the box to try and inspire this Arsenal team. Obviously, back-to-back defeats for the first time this season. So I think it is just about calming them down because they know what they can do to win. They haven't done it in the last 2 games. They're obviously, their quadruple is now down to a potential double. I mean, I'm sure most Arsenal fans would still only just take the Premier League, but what a season that would be for them. So, yeah, I think it is about calming them down, and it's about getting the team to go back to what they're good at, because what we've seen them, they've been criticised a lot this season for winning ugly, as it were, or just getting through and being really solid defensively, and that's what they sort of lost in that FA Cup tie. So, yeah, keep their heads, and such a huge game for them in the Champions League tomorrow before Bournemouth up in the weekend in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because when we looked at the fixtures after the international break, Southampton in the FA Cup, then Sporting Lisbon over 2 legs, and in between times Bournemouth. It sort of looked like almost like a friendly return back to action, didn't it? But that first result has really put this in a really delicate position for Mikel Arteta. You mentioned the pens. Let's talk about the pens, shall we? In the Sun, don't lose on pens. So they're going for it. They're going for all the puns here. Arteta's inking outside the box, they say. So, yeah, this is obviously, a little bit of light relief, isn't it? Henry, what do you make of these sorts of drills? I mean, obviously, he will know the cameras will capture these pictures and put them in the papers as well. So it very deliberately minded with that in mind?
I think if he brings it in to relax the players, it's obviously a little bit of fun. I mean, managers do this. I mean, whether it's marginal gains or it's just a bit of fun. I mean, it's like having the dog at the training ground to relax the players and giving them something to talk about as they come in, just to take a little bit of the tension out of it. I mean, he's gone even further. He's played You'll Never Walk Alone, just, in training to prepare the players before a trip to Anfield. Some of it is a little bit far-fetched, some of it's a little bit new age, but, things like this with the pens, you see them occasionally playing other sports, just to sort of warm up for training. It's great. But as Charlotte says, you look at the players there, and this is all about the players now. Arteta can say what he likes in press conferences, but this is all about the spine of the team coming back. They've now got an elite goalkeeper in David Raya coming back into the side. Kepa is, he's not elite level. The defence isn't as confident with him there. Obviously, he plays in the Cups. You've got Gabriel, who's such an important centre half contender for Footballer of the Year. There were doubts over him, but he trained. And Declan Rice, who for me is the leader of the team, certainly ahead of Martin Odegaard, who has the armband but doesn't have the influence of Rice. And then I'm surprised more people aren't making more of Gyökeres going back to Sporting Lisbon, because slightly the manner in which he left, I think that he might get a little bit of stick from them. But look, he's done fantastically for Arsenal. Was it 17 goals in 42 games? I think he's going to be such an important player. And it'd be great if Gyökeres, when they've put the ball down from between their heads, actually gets them together and gives a little team talk to the players, because he's going to get some stick and he's going to want his teammates around him and using their heads for him.
In the Star, they've got a similar photo of the players balancing the football between them on their heads. Heads we win is the headline here. Arteta tells Gunners to keep calm and carry on. A piece from our colleague, friend of the show, John Cross, who's already out in Lisbon for this Champions League quarter-final first leg. The importance of Declan Rice, there Henry alluded to it. Is that one of the challenges that Mikel Arteta has here, Charlotte, is the need to find true leaders in this squad, not just, as you mentioned before, Henry, Martin Odegaard, who actually wears the armband, the club captain, but that's what you need in this situation, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, especially in a team that has come so close for so many years. It's these final few weeks are key, aren't they? And I mean, how many teams have we seen win all 4 trophies? How many teams have we seen win a treble? It's unprecedented. And if even though they're not managing to do that, if they can still win the Premier League after so long, it will be an exceptional season for them. But it's these tiny little moments and the leaders that you're talking about. This team isn't used to winning. They haven't won a major trophy for years. They haven't won a league title for years. So it's those sorts of players like Declan Rice. I think his presence was really missed in that FA Cup game. So it's going to be really the key message that they're saying there, keep your heads calm and carry on. That's what they're going to have to do, because if the wheels come off tomorrow night at Sporting, and then heaven forbid they come off at the weekend, and they've obviously still got to go to the Etihad. City have still got that game in hand. City are in fantastic form themselves as well, aren't they? The momentum just seems to be swinging in their favour. But if Arsenal, what they do need to do is they just need to keep calm. They need these leaders to get them back on track and get them through the next few weeks, and Declan Rice is certainly one of them.
Yeah. You mentioned that Sporting game in terms of the Tuesday night fixture away in Lisbon. In the Mirror, Sporting chance is the headline. Arteta won't panic, but Gunners need Lisbon lift. Well, one person who won't be able to give them a Lisbon lift is Bukayo Saka. Because he's not involved in this game, Henry. I mean, given especially what happened during the international break, was it 11 withdrawals? I think it was from teams releasing the international teams releasing the players back to Arsenal. But now this could be significant, because along with the leadership, it's those players who have been delivering consistently over time, but also able to provide that moment of magic. You'd have to say Bukayo Saka is one of those. They will not have him at their disposal.
Yeah, look, he's a superb player and a great role model for the club. But he hasn't actually been at his best this season, whether it's all the football that he's played catching up with him, whether it's a tactical issue. But they do have options on the right, depending on the fitness of Madueke, obviously Dauman. He's a fantastic player, and I can see Dauman playing quite a part in the title run-in. Obviously, he's got his GCSEs to focus on early in the summer. But I think for Arsenal, I mean, he showed the other day at Southampton. He was he was a 16-year-old, and he was the one who was taking responsibility. I would love to see him given led off the leash for the run-in for the title in particular. I mean, Charlotte rightly alludes to this. I mean, you talk to Arsenal supporters and you talk to people at the club, it's all about matching what the Invincibles did 22 years ago. It's all about the league. And as Charlotte rightly says, if Arsenal finish with the league this season, and obviously finish in the Champions League positions, which is what owners really care most about because of the 80+ million quid that goes with it, then I think it will be a great season for Arsenal. But if I was Arteta, I would just say, look at the narrative around this club at the moment. So many people want Arsenal to fail, whether it's because elements of the fan base annoy other fan bases. Hey, we live in a tribal world. Whether it's some of Arteta's antics in the dugout, or whether it's the set piece element. A lot of people have got it in, and there'll be so much schadenfreude if Arsenal do slip up. So Arteta has to play on that. No panic. Look at the criticism out there, circle the wagons, and just go and prove what a good team and what good players they are. Because as Charlotte rightly says, you've got a player like Declan Rice in there. You've got a kid like Dauman who can come off the bench. You've got an outstanding goalkeeper in David Raya. You've got one of the best centre-half combinations in the world when they're together in Saliba and Gabriel. Hincapié, I think, is a real miss at left-back. I just think he brings so much defensive security and a threat at set pieces. And Declan Rice can drive forward and score goals, and he can also provide those in-swinging corners, which are such a threat. So, look, there are many positives about this Arsenal side at the moment, and Arteta has got to stress those.
But they are out of the FA Cup, having lost to Southampton. Southampton will play Manchester City, and it's Chelsea against Leeds United. And in the back page of the Express, Charlotte, cops on alert for Chelsea v Leeds. They did stress here, this is precautionary, that recent matches between the two clubs have taken place without incident. Leeds taking 6,000 fans to Stamford Bridge for that fixture in February in the Premier League. There was no trouble. They do travel so well, don't they, Leeds? We know this about their fans. What is the modern face of this rivalry? We know there was so much edge and aggression in the past, but has that calmed down a bit, do you feel?
I mean, I feel so. I've been digging deep into the archives because it was slightly before I was born, I think, when the hostilities between these two teams were at their fiercest. So, yeah, I think it's something that still rumbles on in the background. Football, as Henry just said, is tribal, isn't it? And you've got fans of clubs who they grow up hating other teams, and their grandparents and their parents will explain to them why they hate them. So I'm sure it is a hostility that has been passed down the generations of the football fans, but it's not going back to what we would see in the 60s and the 70s, I think. And that piece from Jeremy Cross there, I think, is just saying, like you say, it's a precautionary thing based on what's happened in the past rather than them anticipating any madness at Wembley. So, yeah, hopefully, like you say, but both teams will all take loads of support to Wembley. What a moment it is for Leeds as well back there for the first time in the FA Cup semi-final in years. So, yeah, it should be a great occasion for them, and hopefully that's what we'll be talking about and not about policing matters at Wembley again.
No, I mean, you know, we know that Chelsea have been to Wembley more frequently in recent years, so you would imagine that Leeds will travel again in significant numbers. But what about Chelsea, Henry? What's the mood music right now, given, you know, what happened in just the last few days, and Marc Cucurella not being punished for talking about potential future moves in his career, but Enzo Fernandez, yes, getting